Farm fresh vegetables are so delicious to cook with. So veggie fans, grab your sheet pans. There's no meat needed for this Indian-inspired vegetarian sheet pan dinner. I'm Chef Heidi Fink, and that's what we're cooking on the coast. Welcome. Today we are making a vegetarian sheet pan dinner, tofu and vegetables tossed in flavorful tandoori spices. This is a vegetarian meal, so tasty you won't even miss the meat. Let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is the tofu. So a lot of people might not realize that when you buy tofu, it's frequently stored in a package with water. So one of the first things I'm going to do is take this over to the sink, slice it open and drain it. There we go. Okay, so for this dish, I'm just going to chop the tofu into cubes. I like to have them relatively small. That way they cook evenly and also they absorb more flavor from the spices. So I'm just doing it sort of 3 this way, 5 this way, and then maybe 6 this way. So I'm using medium firm tofu. You might remember from previous seasons, this is my favorite type of tofu, and that's because it has a more creamy texture and a milder, sweeter flavor than firm tofu. Now I know what ends up happening for people is that the tofu ends up kind of crumbling when you try to cook it, so the roasting it will make it firm and easy to deal with, so that's what we're doing. So I'm gonna start by putting the tofu, so notice I put the tofu to one side. I'm gonna do that separately from the vegetables. So a little bit of oil, and a little bit of salt. We're gonna be adding the spices in the second stage. So for this recipe, what we're doing is roasting the vegetables and tofu with just some oil and salt first until they're about halfway done. Then we are going to roast them with the spices. So that way the spices won't burn and the vegetables won't dry out. So we're just tossing the tofu in some oil and salt. We're leaving that on one side of the tray. Now we're gonna chop our vegetables. So I've got a mixture here. I'm gonna have some cauliflower, some sweet potato, and some Brussels sprouts. You could do whatever vegetables you like. Cauliflower and sweet potato go really well with Indian spices. I just wanna talk a little bit about how to cut cauliflower. I see a lot of people cutting it from the top, and then you end up with a lot of little crumbles. You always wanna cut from the stem. You cut through, and then once it actually gets to the florets, you actually just pull it apart. That way you don't end up with any crumbles. So that's just a little tip on how to have really clean cauliflower. And then for the sweet potato, you want to cut these into relatively large pieces. Sweet potato is very high moisture and it will cook quite quickly, so you want to make sure that the pieces are significantly bigger than the pieces of cauliflower. And then finally I have Brussels sprouts. I just cut them in half. Normally I don't make this dish with Brussels sprouts, but it looks so good in the market today, so I got them. And I also, by the way, have some onion, very thinly sliced. The onion, you want to make sure they're thinly sliced so that they cook and you don't have big chunks of raw onion. So I've need about half a cauliflower, so I probably don't need quite all of this. And 1 large sweet potato, and then this is just a few Brussels sprouts, just for fun. The same thing, we're just gonna do oil and salt on this. So the reason I don't put spices on initially is if the spices are in the oven for 40, 45 minutes, this is the amount of time we need to cook this, they're gonna burn, you're gonna have sort of burned, lack of flavor, maybe bitter spices. So I put it on at the halfway mark. All right. There we go. We're just going to toss that so everything is coated evenly with the oil and salt. I might put a tiny bit more oil in there, actually. Sometimes you need a little bit more moisture. There we go. So just enough oil to moisten these and coat them. There we go. So the other thing that's important about a sheet pan dinner is that you put everything in one layer. You don't want to crowd it too much. This might be slightly crowded, but you know, this way we can eat. Okay, so now I just have to cover this with foil. So this is the other thing that's quite important with sheet pan dinners, especially vegetarian ones. This will give the vegetables a chance to cook through slightly. We're only gonna put it in with the cover on for about 20 minutes. So the vegetables will sort of cook about halfway at that point. Then we're gonna take it out. They'll still be firm. We'll toss it with the spice mixture and then throw it back in uncovered to get that caramelization and that flavor. All right, we're gonna make sure that's nice and tight so we can trap the steam, and we're gonna put this in a convection oven at 400 degrees. The only other thing I started earlier was the brown basmati rice. This is one of my favorite types of rice. It's so nutty and delicious, but it does take 45 minutes to cook, so I started that ahead of time. All we have to do now is make the spice mixture and a delicious yogurt ginger sauce to drizzle on top. So stick around for that, but next we're on the road.
Cooking on the Road is brought to you by Whisk Victoria, the small but mighty kitchen gadget store for every home chef.
I'm here at South Island Saskatoons with Sharon, the owner, and she's going to tell us all about this Saskatoon berry farm on the South Island. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So we have 7 acres of Saskatoon berries. We get about 22,000 pounds of berries off them. They're either sold fresh, we use them for baking, or we sell them frozen.
Right, so there's like a 3-week period in July where you can get fresh berries you pick or buy it from the farm stand.
Right.
And the rest of the time it's frozen, pie fillings, jams.
Yeah.
Okay, year round, farm market down here.
Yeah, you betcha.
Well, I would really like to try some of this pie.
Oh, okay. Well, come on into the kitchen. We'll make one.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
Those are
this is a
berries.
gorgeous country kitchen. I love it.
We make a lot of pies through
Yeah,
this
okay.
kitchen. So rather than hand rolling, we use this machine here.
I was eyeing that up.
Okay, so I've got my pastry pre-made. It's my great-grandmother's recipe.
Okay, I love this.
So we're going to take a chunk of this, give it a squish.
Okay.
Then it goes into our fancy machine here. Then,
Oh,
but
with
first,
saran wrap
you gotta
first.
put some saran wrap
Or
on
it'll
there.
stick. Okay.
Yeah, we learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Do not forget the saran wrap. Pull.
I'm actually nervous because
It's
I don't-
hard.
Is it hard? Like all the way down?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is hard. There we go. It's a good
Pull
thing
it
I
up.
was at the
Hold the
gym.
bottom.
Okay. Oh wow, that's
there you
so
go.
cool.
So do the same with tops.
Okay.
We'll make a whole bunch of tops. This is the die for the tops.
So you put this in here to
Yeah,
make a top?
instead. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I'll make 100 of those and 100 bottoms, and then I'm ready to do a big pie making
Wow, so this is
session.
quite a production. So it's like a 3-day minimum
Oh
for a
yeah.
set.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next. The inside.
The
guts
inside
of the pie.
okay, the guts of the
Guts
pie.
of the pie. So we got these are the frozen berries. They're from last year.
Yeah. And then this is
then
rhubarb.
this is
So do you
rhubarb.
always put rhubarb or that's just a sometimes
Yeah, that's
thing?
just for this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
then-
we got 5 1/3 cups of sugar.
Okay.
And then we use tapioca starch.
Oh, you know what? That's my favorite for pies. Do you just mix
Yeah.
this by hand?
Yeah, and
now?
then just mix the whole thing
Ah,
up.
I love it. This
And
is one
I'll
of my
flute
favorite
us
things.
a couple of.
So if you're doing a crumb top, you just flute that bottom.
yeah. So then I
obviously.
just give it a.
Oh, you just hand flute it.
Yeah. All of them.
She's a pro over here. And you just eyeball how much you put in there?
Yeah. Just fill it up. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
A bit more?
Yeah. That should be good.
That's
'cause
good.
It's gonna
Okay.
have a crumb top.
It's gonna
on
have
it.
a crumb top.
I know.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Then I pre-mix the crumb top. So
Okay.
the crumb top is brown sugar, butter, flour, cinnamon.
Oh, love it.
Yeah. And we just put that around.
Oh, it smells
there.
amazing. So, and you said you sell 3,000 pies a year.
Yeah, and probably about 800 of them are this. I'll just take these and pop them in the oven.
Okay, perfect. I love it.
Okay, so fresh out of the oven,
Yes.
cooled off.
Okay,
We'll give
I'm
this a
excited.
try. Let's give
The
this a
rhubarb Saskatoon berry crumb
Rhubarb
top.
Saskatoon berry crumb top.
Ooh, look at how
Oh.
beautiful.
Give that
Thank
some
you.
grease.
All right. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's such a different complex flavor.
It is a different kind of berry, and it works good in anything you use. You can do with a blueberry. You can do with a Saskatoon
Yeah,
berry.
so I see you've got scones.
Throw them in scones. These are the single-serve pies. Syrup bread tarts with the Saskatoon berry filling.
And then, of course, the syrup, which I'm definitely going to buy some to take home.
yeah, so we have a lot of juice, and that's what I use with the syrup and the jelly. And then we start
Okay,
making the
these freezies. This
And-
looks great.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much. This was fantastic. This pie is so good. If
absolutely.
you guys are ever in Cobble Hill, you should come check out South Island Saskatoons. Oh, I just have to have another bite. Welcome back. We're in the middle of making a delicious vegetarian sheet pan dinner. and I'm here to show you the next steps. So what we've got to do now is make our spice mixture. So I have some garam masala here. This is a warming Indian spice mixture of peppercorns, cumin, coriander, cinnamon, a bunch of delicious warming spices. That's going to be our base, our tandoori base. And we also have some turmeric and some extra ground cumin. And then we have a little bit of paprika and cayenne. We do not need to add salt to this because we have already salted our vegetables earlier. And then just enough oil to make this into a smooth paste. So I may or may not need to add extra oil. No, that looks great. Let's smell that. Oh yeah, smells delicious, just like tandoori. Okay, now I'm gonna grab those veggies out of the oven. So remember, they've only cooked partially, about 20 minutes. And I cooked them covered just to generate some steam. So let's look at this. Hopefully I haven't overcooked them. Ooh, looks good, smells good. So what happens here when the tofu cooks is now you can touch it and it's bouncy and firm. So that's how you deal with medium tofu is you cook it. You either roast it or blanch it or do something like that. And then it actually solidifies the protein and allows you to stir fry it or do whatever. So what I'm gonna do now is take these veggies off of this pan back into the same bowl I used. So notice I didn't clean the bowl. There was the bowl I used to toss the veggies before. So this is really like a one pan, one bowl meal. So we're just gonna scoop this all off and we're gonna toss it with that delicious, oopsies. We're gonna toss it with that delicious spice mixture and then we're gonna put it back in the pan and then when we cook it in the second half, we're gonna leave it uncovered so that the vegetables can caramelize and everything can be exposed to the hot air of the oven and we're gonna keep it at the exact same temperature. I am losing tofu. So when I did it, the first section of cooking, I had the tofu separate from the vegetables and that's because if you try to toss tofu with vegetables while it's still raw like that, the tofu kind of starts to crumble apart and then the vegetables don't really look that pretty with like crumbly bits of tofu. But once it's cooked, then it'll hold its shape. So I'm gonna take this delicious mixture and we're gonna pour it on. Well, this is one of my favorite parts because as soon as you throw it on here, it starts to smell amazing. The spices hitting the warm vegetables. Just need my little mini spatch. One of my favorite tools. I think I've talked about this a lot. I should do a show just on cooking tools, honestly. Okay. Then we're gonna get a spatula or a spoon and we're very gently gonna toss this. You could also do the famous, chef toss, but a spoon works just as well. So you wanna just mix that until everything's evenly coated. Paying attention, sometimes the cauliflower, like right there, likes to get it all. So just keep going until everything is evenly coated with these amazing tandoori spices. This smells so good. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, now we're just gonna throw that back onto the same tray. Make sure we get every last bit out of here. And then I'm gonna just use my spatula to spread this out, or you can shake it if it's not too hot. That was a bit hot. Gonna spread this out. So now everything's kind of mixed. Before I had it separate, now it's all mixed like a traditional sheet pan. And we're gonna spread it out so it's in one layer. Same thing, you don't want it to be piled up too much because you want the vegetables and tofu to get a bit caramelized in the oven. And that can't happen when everything's piled on top of each other. All right, still a little hot. Okay, so we're gonna throw that back in the oven for about another 15 to 20 minutes. Same temperature. All right, while that's cooking, I'm just gonna move this out of the way. Okay, so now while that's cooking, we can work on the ginger yogurt sauce that we're gonna put on the top. You can skip this part for sure. This pan dinner is gonna taste delicious without it, but I find this just elevates it that much more. And we're sitting around waiting for 20 minutes, so let's do it. So first we're gonna take 3/4 of a cup of yogurt, just plain yogurt. And then to that, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of grated ginger. So I always use a microplane for this because then you get it very, very fine and you get some of the juice that comes out with it. So it just mixes really well with the yogurt. You don't have any, chunks of ginger. And it also just smells really good. So just rub it really well on this microplane. I'm just eyeballing my tablespoon. Okay, making sure we get it all. Okay, and then we need a tablespoon of honey. Once again, I'm gonna just eyeball this. Tablespoon of honey. Okay, whoop, whoop. Okay, that might have been more than a tablespoon. Then we need a pinch of salt. And we also need about a tablespoon of lemon juice. I'll probably put just a little bit more than a tablespoon since I overdid it with the honey. That's fine. It's all about making things delicious and not stressing too much about it. I'll get my tablespoon. I'll measure this time, okay? I'll do like a tablespoon and a half because the honey was aggressive. There we go. And then I can taste it. Oh, and then the last thing I need is some minced cilantro. So the other thing you can do to make this really easy is just kind of chunk everything up and then put it in a blender, Magic Bullet, immersion blender, and just blend it up. I prefer to do it this way because if you completely blend it, it turns green, which is totally fine. That sometimes looks really nice as a contrast. But with this, you kind of have like a white and green speckled, which I like. So I'm just gonna make sure that the honey is dissolved into there. So this ends up being like a really nice sweet and sour kind of gingery taste that it tastes good with that tandoor stuff. I'm gonna taste it, make sure it doesn't need salt. No, I think that's, oh my God. Actually, the extra ginger and honey and lemon was actually a bonus, so I might change the recipe. Okay, so we just let that set aside and wait until our veggies are nicely caramelized. The only other thing I have organized here are some cherry tomatoes. Again, this is something you can skip, but because I'm a chef, I really like the color. So we've got like the orange and the green and the white, and then we got some red. And it also adds a little element of freshness. So when that dish comes out, when that pan comes out, I'm gonna sprinkle the tomatoes on there. I usually put the ginger sauce right on the tray, but I'm actually gonna save it for plating as well. Okay, it's been 20 minutes, so this has gotta be ready. Oh yeah, look at how caramelized and beautiful that is. Whoa. All right, we're gonna bring it over here. And like I said before, we're just gonna sprinkle some cherry tomatoes over that just for some color. And then I'm gonna plate it. So like I said, normally I would drizzle the yogurt ginger sauce all over it right onto the tray, but just for the sake of making it extra pretty, we're going to just do that on the plates. So first I'm gonna grab some of this basmati rice that I cooked. We're gonna fluff that up, just make sure, look at how fluffy and beautiful. I love brown basmati rice, it's so nutty and good. Okay, we're gonna put a little bit of that on the plate. And remember, you don't need to have the rice, you can just eat the sheet pan dinner as is. But this makes it stretch a little farther, Okay, now we're gonna put, this just smells so good. Oh my God, and it's so pretty. Look at those beautiful colors. I'm gonna put a little Brussels sprout on there. Okay, now we're just gonna do that on the other side. So this serves 4 to 6 people, depending on whether you did it with rice or not. I think these guys need a little more sweet potato. Look at the beautiful caramelization on those vegetables. And if you could smell the delicious tandoori smell in here, you'd be wanting to dive right in. Okay, so now I'm gonna drizzle some of this ginger sauce over it. Oh yeah. And then I'm just gonna get a little bit of cilantro sprig because chefs always love to garnish everything. There we go. I'll move that. Put that there. Put that there. All right, there you go. Doesn't that look beautiful? And there you have it, my sheet pans and veggie fans sheet pan dinner. Isn't that delicious?
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
The complex flavors of this tandoori-inspired veggie sheet pan dinner will be interesting to pair with. So with us to help us out is Cheryl from Liquor Plus. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me again. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So I'm excited to see what you brought today.
I'm excited to taste what you've made today. So today what we brought was our Haywire Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And I know that's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, that's not what I was expecting.
To go with Indian, because people typically tend to go for something, especially if it's a spicy dish, with a Riesling or a Gewürztraminer, something a little sweeter and white.
Yes.
But I think you might be pleasantly surprised with what we got with our Pinot Noir today. Yeah, so Pinot Noir is really a light, vibrant type of wine. And I think pairing it with the spices that you've got going on in this dish might surprise you. So,
smell.
yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, very
so
fruity,
you're getting
dry.
you get that fruitiness coming
Yep.
through. So a lot of those red berries.
Yes, yes.
You're getting some strawberry and
Yep,
cherry and
yep.
raspberries. And I think it's going to just really pair well with the spice.
Yeah,
that
and
we
I can
got
actually
going
see
on.
how the berry flavors might go well with, like, because there's sweet potato in here, right? So it's a bit
Great.
sweet.
Yeah,
Okay, so
absolutely.
let's try it
Yeah.
out. Let's see. So we got some tofu.
Okay.
I'm gonna try some tofu and sweet potato.
Me too.
There's like a yogurt sauce on here too. You might
Oh,
wanna-
love a yogurt sauce. I'll get some of that in there as well.
Such a good dish.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna try it with the wine
Here.
now. Okay.
Tried and tested.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's actually good.
Oh yeah.
Like
That
the
pairs
berry, yeah, the
beautifully.
berry flavors are really pair so well with this, like with that sweet potato, the tofu, the spices. I'm loving it.
I really like how that worked together. And you know, tandoor is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
So it's actually, isn't it like a cooking method
Yes,
as well
yes.
as a spice?
It is actually, yeah. It's the name of the oven that things are roasted in, but
Okay.
it generally has a mixture of garam masala and some other spices, and so that
Yeah.
ends up becoming tandoori spices.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's great. So Haywire, I just want to talk a little bit about Haywire Winery. So they are actually certified organic.
Oh, okay.
100%. And when I say that, I mean it because I've seen it.
Okay.
So I actually had a wine camp there
Oh,
last
really?
fall.
A wine
A wine
camp?
camp.
That
It
sounds
was
like the best
amazing.
camp idea for adults. Yeah.
it's the best kind of camp for an adult. They actually gave us a little story about having some infestation on their vines. And of course, being organic, you know, normally you'd get the insecticides and herbicides and all the things that go in. And literally, they picked every bug by hand off of those vines.
That is some dedication.
Huge dedication. Yeah,
Well,
they're
it really
super proud of
shows.
it. So it really shows.
Yeah,
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 and
yeah,
they
yeah.
make some beautiful, beautiful wines.
Yes.
So cheers again. Yeah.
Yeah, that is really good. I'm gonna have that with some cauliflower this time.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig in there a little bit more of that yogurt that you got going on.
I told people they could leave it off, but I think
And a
maybe
Brussels
not.
sprout in there too, which is
Yeah.
one of my favorites. Love it. Heidi, you're killing me.
Well, you're killing me. These wine pairings are amazing. Thanks. This paired beautifully. Your surprise was awesome in the end.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again for having me.
I'd love to see your take on this meal. Take a photo and tag me on social media. I'm Chef Heidi Fink. The more you learn, the better it tastes. All right, I gotta dig in some more. I didn't actually try Brussels sprout yet.
Oh yeah, the spice is perfect too.
Yeah, it's not too spicy, but just a little bit.
Love it.
Really went well with that wine.
Yeah. It does pair well, yeah. Cheers, my friend. Thank you again.
cheers. Looking forward to the next one.